Call me, thanks. Have you sent a message like that to your employees? Have you thought about how it feels for them to receive that? And be honest, are you thinking, why does that really matter? Because when employees receive a message like that, without a greeting, name, or context, often they may be thinking, oh, great, am I getting fired? What's going on? And they're moving things away frantically to set that up and find out. So at best, they're coming to the call under stress. At worst, you're creating a core memory, like the movie Inside Out, that they take with them through their employment, of that gut, of getting that message and that fear of what could be happening with their employment. In this video, I'll talk about why it matters so much, your employees' feelings and reactions. And at the end of the video, things that you can do as a manager to help improve them personally and professionally. Employees are people, and how they feel when they show up to work matters. It's not just fluff. It impacts their mental health in a lot of aspects about their entire lives. It also matters to their lives at work on a day-to-day basis, how they show up, what they want to get done during the day. For retention, how long they want to stay at the organization and under your leadership. As they feel towards overall the organization, but especially your leadership, that impacts so much about who they are as a professional. And ultimately, that matters to you. So it's not just a nice to have or help them out in their lives. And that stuff matters a lot in life. But for your leadership and the things that you're trying to get done, it impacts how they're working. So overall, your treatment of employees, showing that grace and space, and giving them the recognition that things matter in and out of work, and you're there to support them in what they do and who they are in and out of work, truly matters. As people, employees have things that go on that often they can't control, but impact every aspect of their lives, both inside and outside of work. It may be something personal, like their own health, maybe a family member, like a child or a parent they're caring for. Could be something that happens to a neighbor or close friend that person thinks, I want to be there for them, but my first instinct is, how is this going to impact my work? I'll give a very specific example of how it can feel in the impact when a manager or colleague shows support with things that someone else has going on in life and is willing to put things aside to help them, and how ultimately it can help an employee want to perform at work and ultimately have impacts on their life. So years ago, I was a lawyer at KFC in Louisville, Kentucky. When I started, I had a baby and an older toddler, and my kids were in daycare. For those that know, that often means week after week of sickness. Ultimately, it leads to more immunity, but when you're going through it, it can be incredibly stressful. So I knew it when my young son woke up with a fever in the pit in my stomach, that not only did I think, oh, how can I care for this child, but immediately my concern is, am I going to get fired because I'm having to take time or try to figure out how to care for my sick baby? This is a feeling, again, people can get, whether it's a child, themselves, a parent, but that pit where even the first thought sometimes is, how is this going to impact my work? I knew it all too well. But one thing that changed my entire life was there was an executive assistant to the chief legal officer, because I was on the legal team, Gloria Hudson. What Gloria would do is ultimately we would let the manager know my child is sick, and again, apologizing. I'm so sorry. I'll be online as soon as I can. The chief legal officer, Kathy Tang, and then Melanie Boots, they immediately would say, it's okay, take the time you need, we got this. And we would cover things often for each other and pitch in. But what Gloria Hudson, as the executive assistant, would do is she would say, take a picture and send it when he's feeling all better. So when I came back to the office, I came and in front of my office was a picture of my son and words from Gloria writing, he's feeling all better. When I walked in and saw that level of care, it gave me the comfort that not only did I know that when things happened in my life that were natural and were likely to happen again, I had that support, the vocal support from my leadership that it's okay, we got this, it's fine to focus, and it's important to focus on your family, but also that celebration by someone who didn't have to, but who went the extra step. And Gloria didn't just do that for me, but everyone across our team. When people had things going on, she would post pictures and write notes and give updates. And again, it was information I felt comfortable sharing and feeling that level of support. Then what it meant for me is that I felt incredibly engaged at work. And I say this because doing the right thing should be the right thing. But ultimately at work, it's important that people know what the outcome can be. So not only did I come and want to truly do my best and felt engaged on the employee engagement scale, but I have developed long-lasting friendships that have continued after we left Louisville and continue to this day. And it's an impact I have on my life, that core memory, and it makes me want to do things and be there for other people, reminding people how important it is to vocally support them when they have something going on. So when your employees are going through something like a sickness or dealing with a family member, as a manager or as a colleague, your first thought may truly be, great, how does this impact me? But taking a step back and thinking, how can I focus this on them? And know that truly, whatever needs to get done at work will get done. But showing the support for this employee can have an impact on their work, but also ultimately on their life. And those things truly matter. At the beginning of the video, I used the example of the message, call me thanks. And some may still be thinking, but what's really wrong with that? As I said, it can put people in that grip, and it can get people incredibly stressed. And it can matter, not just in that moment of coming to that call stressed, wondering what's going on, but ultimately in that employment. Things like that create core memories. If the stress that someone feels with a short message, but alternately, the ways you can do that are just by taking a few steps, using someone's name in a message, giving them context of what it's about, and trying to find a time that works. Again, not knowing what's going on with their schedule, but looking, if you have a shared calendar, oh, it looks like 3 o'clock's free. Does it, or should we look to another time? Each of those things shows a base level of respect that not only matters in that moment, but the core memories that someone carries on through their work of someone that showed them that respect as a manager. And it has ripple effects of how they work with other people. And again, you may be thinking, okay, so now I have to take all this time. Well, at the end of your career, I can bet that you're not going to think back and think, I wish I hadn't spent that extra minute writing someone an email. You probably won't think of it at all. But that employee, as they think about you and your leadership, will think that this is a manager that treated me with respect and was the manager that I wanted to be. So as I wanted to work well. And as I wanted to move in my career, I wanted to be the kind of manager that showed that respect to others. These are the ripple effects that you can have in small situations. So the other thing I mentioned is a tip that you can do for your teams. What are the things that are going on at work that gets your teams in the grip or causes unnecessary stress? Do you know? It takes a level of trust between you and your teams. But in your next meeting, think about asking, what's something that happens that you would wish you could change? That's a minor behavior and you just wish it could be tweaked, of the way we talk, the way we work, or if you have to take time off and you're worried about those things. What are things that you're bringing below the surface that you'd love to talk about? You can ask your team, you can tee it up in advance and say, hey, I want to know this, these burning questions of things that you'd love to change. You may not be able to change everything, especially if it's large, but opening up those conversations and finding out what are the small things that are affecting your employees that may lead to bigger things. It may be the day that they decide to apply elsewhere because they feel like they don't have the support. Can you proactively change those things at work and create new ways of working that can be simple changes that have big impacts for you and your team? I truly believe that you can, and I think your employees will tell you that the impact it can have on their work and life are massive.